YouTube, Google, and the Fifth Estate, state-run, state-owned media cannot stop you from sharing George Webb's investigative journalism via the Crusade Radio Network. Only you can prevent forest fires, and only you can prevent censorship. You truly have the power here to really make these bastards' days not very pleasant. They don't like it when the truth actually comes out because it's not supposed to. So what do? Well, share these media outlets. Share George's hard work. Share the Mike Church Show. Share the Crusade Radio Network. Send an email out. Link to them. Tell your friends, hey, man, you're listening to that garbage over there in a stupid radio station and you're watching that CBS News channel. Come on, man. Real news, real opinion, real reporting is here, and then send them the links. They can't stop you from doing that. If you truly despise the Malachian satanic media, the MSM, that's how it should properly be called, well, then you will do that. And every day I will come in here and I will report to you how many more people subscribed on YouTube, on Twitter, on any of our Crusade Radio Network, how many copies of the app were downloaded. So yesterday, plus 13 subscribers on the Yubu, plus 13. Thank you. Can we do 20 today? Again, button right there on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Share it with your friends and family. Give us the thumbs up on the broadcast. Same thing on X. If you retweet this live, that we're live, and there is a tweet out there for it, well, then you double the chances that someone else is going to be able to listen or watch the program. Let's go to the Dude Maker hotline here for a real investigative journalist, George Webb, who is playing chutes and ladders out there in Santa Monica, California, where it's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. It was yesterday when I saw him last. George, thanks for getting up early, brother. Good morning.
Hey, hi, Mike. Yeah, I'm in the Antifa capital of America. A few people remember they went through the 3rd Street Promenade and busted like 200 windows. So that's just having how Antifa has fun, right? So anyway, yes. So, yeah, I made a presentation last night to a big group. There are people who are awake in Santa Monica, believe it or not. So anyway, it's been fun, and now I'm heading back.
Well, you know, Santa Monica, one of my favorite cities. I've actually been there. Named for my patron saint, my confirmation saint is St. Augustine. So that's his mother, St. Monica. So it always has a special place in my heart. But when I saw you on the boardwalk yesterday, and you didn't give a byline, and I'm looking at the palm trees, I'm going like, is he in California? So, and then you said you were in Santa Monica, and I'm going like, okay, I had to go back and reread 2 episodes back. So walk the audience back 2 posts, okay? Not chutes and ladders, but the one before. And I want you to start with, introduce the Uric guy, and then tell the audience why the FBI was somehow, why were they taking blood samples on July the 13th?
Okay, well, that the Uric is Uric's blood. It's. I'm standing outside of a movie theater here. Uric's blood has not premiered yet, but we're expecting Uric's blood anytime. But to give you the big overview, the big news yesterday, of course, was the Iranian quote unquote plot to pay for the Trump assassination. Turned out to be a Pakistani plot. If you go back 8 years. We tracked a Pakistani group that was using encrypted military communications on Capitol Hill, working with Antifa, right? So they had 35 different representatives in the House carrying these encrypted communications. Keith Ellison was one of them in Minnesota. There was Andre Carson. So there's this Antifa network, this Pakistan to Antifa connection. So that's what that's why I'm here in Santa Monica.
Okay.
But as far as Uric is concerned, he is the key guy, if you will. He's the key man for Antifa in the U.S. And that's the connection to. We believe he is potentially the confidential informant that's named in the Department of Justice's lawsuit yesterday. what Urich is a guy who has attacked Trump people in 2016 in Pittsburgh. He organized 500 people. Remember the Chaz and the Chop?
Yes.
In Seattle?
Yes.
And remember Minnesota in flames?
Yes.
Everywhere he goes, flames follow. He encouraged people to go to January 6th with explosives to blow up Washington, D.C. So he is the key Antifa guy. Now, the early reports came out. About 10 or 12 different agencies reported the first person dead at the Trump rally was Urich. And the reason was one of two reasons. They either traced his blood, and Roger Stone reported and some other outlets, but it was either Urich's blood, thinking that if the role of Crooks was as a support person, as a spotter, his shooter would have been Urich. There's a whole bunch of evidence to support they knew each other. So as Urich is making his escape after he fires the shots and leaves kind of Crooks to take the hit, right? He cuts his hand on the ladder on his descent.
Okay.
And he's bleeding all over the place, and he bleeds all the way down that hallway that you see in the films, and so much so that they have to rinse his bloody hand off in this sink. And the Secret Service walls this off. And Cheadle, the director, she testifies that they originally did a blood test to identify the killed person, but then later Chris Ray says, no, that turned out not to be true. Turned out to be that it was Crooks, and they identified him by the serial number on the DR-15 rifle. So that's where the blood comes in. The other thing is there's a van that was owned by his father, Urich's father, Roger, that seemed to be used for the last 8 years in these Antifa operations with this, kind of Antifa gang. That's also potentially found at the site. So that also running the plate, the Arizona plate, could have been the way that they identified Urich, and we still don't know. Those are just the two connecting pieces of evidence that we have so far.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back because we were there. We were live right here on the Crusade Radio Network. I jumped on there 5 minutes after the shots rang out. So shots rang out at 6:11 Eastern Standard Time. I was on air by 6:16, 5:16 Central, and we were on air for about 4 hours. And we covered all this in real time. We have the tapes and everything, so we can go back and listen to them. And George, I can confirm, because I went back and listened yesterday, I can confirm that within the first 40 minutes or so, there was someone posted somewhere the identity of the shooter. And the first ID that we got was this Urich guy. They said it was this Matthew Urich guy, and he had a social media profile. But then within 10 minutes, it's like, no, that's the wrong guy. That's not the guy. So then it was Crooks. And then we're going like, well, how in the hell are they IDing these guys so quick? And so this is where I guess where the blood comes in. That Urich was ID'd by the blood mistakenly, and then Cheadle tries to backtrack it in her hearing, saying, "Well, we got the blood sample, and we made the ID." And then Ray comes on and goes, "Oh, no, none of that. That's not the way we use the serial number on the rifle." So just for people that are confused. The rifle that is on the roof of the AGR building, George Webb, is the rifle that is used to try and assassinate President Trump. Are you good with that part of the story?
I'm pretty good with that part of the story. There's 2 sets of shots. There's 3 shots for sure that come from that roof.
Okay.
There's another 5 shots that acoustically are different, but could be the fact that they turn the rifle sideways. When you're shooting for accuracy, the shots are slower and squeezed off slower. But when you're shooting for covering fire, you could stand up and just go bang, 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 real quick to make sure nobody's going to chase you. You don't know how many shots are coming at that point. So it could be that he just stood up and fired. But yeah, I'm okay with all the shots coming from that location.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
Now, what is, in your investigation, what is the Copenhagen video? What does it add or subtract to the official narrative?
Well, it means somebody ran across the roof. But it's hard to know because the roofs are sloped and the person goes in and out of sight. the part that really flies in the face of all this is Crooks is 6'4". That's really tall.
That is
I'm
really
6'8", but and everyone thought he was the shooter was short. Urich is 5'10". A lot of people thought the shooter was 5'6". So that's a weird thing. But Copenhagen, I think the video which you're talking about, which shows somebody moving across that building, toward the roof, it would be the perfect, would be totally explainable if he is a spotter, a volunteer spotter, in the corner of the building waiting in case he's engaged. They don't want to make a big show of it if there's nothing, no threats. But when they go from the ready position to the aim and fire position, you got to get over there to your shooter, and you got to start looking through your monocle and looking for targets. And so that could explain why he's running over there. But there's another ladder on the other side of the building, the water tower side of the building, which is a 10-foot ladder, which was there before the shooting. And that is how I believe at least Urich got up to the roof. And then I believe there is a 5-foot ladder that was from Home Depot that was taken after the shooting. That's how Crooks got on the building.
Okay.
But we don't have much more than that right now.
All right, so investigative journalist George Webb on the Dude Maker hotline here with us, george.webb.substack.com. George, in one of your reports, there's a still shot of a video that says, Crooks says you got the wrong guy. Is this video still out there?
Yeah, and I kind of got duped on that. There's some jackasses here in Los Angeles that made a video that basically he thought it would be funny, and so because he thought his friend looked like Crooks, so they made that video. They told us about it 19 days later. We didn't touch it as far as evidence-wise until we saw it in one of these explainer videos that is so slick and so smooth, and so I used it. And then it turned out that was a hoax. And it's really frustrating when you go to funerals and you do benefits for people who get murdered and so forth. And you have people who think that's funny. But anyway, that did happen. And that turns out to be a hoax video.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the chutes and ladder now. And to the what's going on and why you're in Santa Monica. So you're in Santa Monica now because you traced this biggest ladder mystery since Lindbergh kidnapping, and now Lindbergh. I actually had to look this up. Lindbergh's baby was kidnapped by Bruno Hauptmann. Yeah,
and he used a ladder, and so the iconography that they used there, the ladder they had, the ladder was how Hauptmann, a German carpenter, made the ladder, how he brought the ladder, how he put the ladder up to the baby's window. So the ladder was big. They even sold little ladders at the trial, as far as souvenirs. So the point I made last night at my speech in Santa Monica was this is the same thing the FBI did. They waved the bloody ladder. They started with the ladder saying, hey, he's got a bloody receipt in his pocket for the ladder. They started saying he went to Home Depot the morning of to buy the ladder. That turned out not to be true.
Not true.
It was bought on the 8th.
Right.
So that shows preparation and planning. He's there on the 4th. He's there on the 8th. And they won't show the picture of him. We went into the Home Depot, like I said in the last show, where he bought the ladder. We showed the hundreds of cameras. We showed the FBI how they could actually get the picture of him buying the ladder. But they haven't produced that picture yet.
Okay, so now can you explain where Antifa comes in here and the Pakistani assassin? And now you think that the guy, whoever it was that is orchestrating this, that the Pakistani or whoever, they're still out there. And this was the purpose of your entire investigation, was like, we ought to find out the truth behind this so that if the perpetrators are still at large, they can't try and kill him again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the network is still there. And this goes back to what we did 8 years ago with Antifa and PAC-ISI. If you want to kill somebody, right, you can either do it yourself, and now you're subject to all kinds of investigation, Or if you're W. Wasserman Schultz, you can have a spiring in Congress, a PAC ISI spiring and a WAN spiring, and have them do it. Right now, it's national security because it involves a foreign power, and now I can classify everything. You mentioned this on, I think, one of your shows too. Is you can now say the assassination attempt was classified.
Right.
And what's known here, though, is they had foreknowledge of all this happening. They knew that there was something planned, and the metadata for the guy, this Merchant guy, this PAC ISI operative, goes up until July 12th. The guy was going to pay $5,000 down and $100,000 for the kill. Now it's all classified, right? So they bring this out 3 weeks later, letting everyone know there was an impending threat, somebody paying money to kill Donald Trump, meeting with operatives. They turn out to be FBI operatives, but I say that's URIC because all the metadata stops the day before Trump's assassination.
Right.
So that's what we're looking into right now, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it through our various metadata.
And so where does this lead the investigation to now?
Well, there's 19 locations that Senator Mike Johnson published through. These are IP pings. These are where definitely we have a URIC-type device pinging around the Crooks home, the Crooks place of business, the Allegheny Gun Works, places in and around. But we're focusing in on the things Crooks didn't do.
Okay.
Right? There's this golf membership for a year at this golf club. URIC played golf. Crooks didn't. Crooks was a lacrosse player. There's an apartment that's rented on Locust Avenue that's for 6 months. That's leading up to the assassination. The key meetings for the assassination happened in April, May timeframe. So this has been in the works for a while. How Trump was allowed to go on stage, how the roof was now let completely free and open, how people were able to go with ladders and plan what equipment they needed and
right.
move white vans, how all that could happen and then be let to proceed. Right? They let it go ahead. They didn't try to foil it or stop it. They didn't arrest Crooks or URIC, right? They let it go ahead. URIC's on the FBI watch list as an assassin. So there's no excuse here, really. It means that they let an assassination roll forward.
Now, how does URIC, this URIC guy, how does he get on the FBI wanted list as an assassin? And why aren't they manhunting this? Where's the manhunt for this guy?
Well, see, when I turn a guy, right, and the FBI, this is why I think Chris Wray stepped in and squashed the URIC name so quickly, is because once I turn him and now he becomes my operative, now he's my confidential source, and now I can protect him.
Okay.
Now he can basically commit any crime he wants, and now I'm using him, and I can always have him recruit assassins, train assassins like Crooks, get them on drugs, recruit them online, coax them along, whatever, take them to the parties, take them to the shooting clubs, right? I coax them along, and then if I ever do need to have an assassination done, I'm ready to go, right?
Right.
And then I can always say it's a foreign plot and write it off as a foreign plot. I didn't do it. It was the Pakistanis. It was the Antifa group. And this is a way of using Antifa to smash free speech, right? And then they can have hands free. It's plausible deniability. Oh, it was a foreign plot. I thought this was Iranian originally, but it turns out this Pakistani guy just stopped in the Tehran airport for a while. He wasn't really Iranian, but they rolled it out initially as an Iranian plot. No, it's PAC ISI, and we've been talking about it for 8 years.
All right, explain to our listeners, if you will, and our viewers, Ron Johnson releases his metadata. What device does the metadata or devices does the metadata come from where you have these maps on georgewebb.substack.com on your Substack post with the red dots on them? What device does this come from, purportedly?
Well, it's advertising data. So, like, if an advertiser wants to advertise a laundromat that you're close to, one of the locations is a laundromat, it'll ping, hey, come in and, $1 off your laundry today, right? So like one of the pings near the karate club is an ad ping. So we don't know who actually owns the phone. What they do is they say, give me all IP addresses that respond both to the Crooks home location. You can geofence these queries and the Crooks place of business.
Okay.
And so that's what somebody did. They created what they call a fence. And then they came up with these 17 other hits. The Heritage Foundation hasn't released any more information. So we don't know if it's Urick meeting Crooks at his house, Urick meeting Crooks at his home. The other locations around Crooks's place don't really jive with Crooks. Like I mentioned, the golf membership for a year doesn't match. There's a garden center match. There's this other place, this apartment for Urick. They don't fit with the profile of Crooks. If it's Crooks, he would be going to his house every day, right? Or he would be going to his workplace Monday through Friday, and that the metadata does not match up there. So we think it's either Urick, or it could be this Iranian guy that we have the pings for, or this Pakistani guy that we have the pings for. But they're out there. You can read them on the Oversight Project from the Heritage Foundation if you want to double check.
Okay, here's what I want to know in the final 2 minutes that we have here with georgewebb.substack.com. And you can find him on Twitter at Real George Webb. By the way, can you solve a controversy in our little group here? Are you in any way, shape, or form related to Whitney Webb?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'd be very proud as a dad. And somebody asked me last night at the talk I was related to Gary Webb, and I said no, but I'd be proud to be related to Gary Webb too. But my full name is George Webb Swigert, and so I just shortened it to make it easier.
Okay.
And so not related to either of them.
Okay. All right. We got 2 minutes left, so quick. I'm gonna go as fast as I can. Nathan, Fonnie Willis, and Nathan Hale, or whatever his last name. I can't remember his name. Nathan, the Nathan guy. Cell phone data from his phone was obtained by a PI with the Trump campaign and with Trump's defense team, and they were able to take that cell phone data, and it's so accurate and so precise if you know what you're doing. They were able to tell which node off of a cell phone tower the ping came from and from which direction, because you can calibrate between the towers here. Why hasn't this been done already with Crooks?
Well, you can take the IP data and then go and match it because you have the timestamps. You can match it with the local cameras around that area, so you can see if a white van is at the Crooks house, or you could see if what car is coming into Crooks's house at that time. We have satellite data. We have satellite data on the roof, by the way. So, but they're withholding that because it's a matter of national security. But you could see somebody climbing on the roof, whether there's one or two people. So there's all sorts of data. But we actually are in this time warp, Mike, where we're having worse film than the Zapruder film, even though that was 60 years ago.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. I mean, everything in this is backwards. There's everything that's breadcrumbed and eyedroppered out is always grainy. It's always just one little tiny clip, and that to me is, let's create a whole bunch of conspiracy theories, right? Let's not have a American Glass Research, which is a defense contractor with lots of cameras. They should have just a continuous film of what's happening on that grass up into the assassination, but we don't have it. Yeah,
they absolutely should. George, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much, brother. We'll let you get back to your travels and look forward to getting back to Butler. Y'all follow George, and you can do the paid version at georgewebb.substack.com. Safe travels, old friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mike. We're heading back to Butler. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. That's George Webb, investigative journalist. Yeah, he's right about this. And none of this stuff makes any sense. None of this stuff makes any sense. How can you be in the digital era in 2024 and the only photographs that we have and the only photographic evidence we have, even the video that's coming off of phones, looks like it was shot on an old VHS Betamax tape?